Hey guys, Zero here. Welcome back to my Let's Play RuneScape. Jagex released a behind the scenes video recently, and it's to do with the demon flash mobs. Now, for all of that, we basically know what to expect. There's going to be some huge demons in the wilderness and other places, and I'm excited about the ones in the wilderness because it's pretty close to where I normally go and kill bots. It's supposed to be in the Boneyard, just west of the entrance to Demonheim. So that's going to be cool. But yeah, we kind of know what to expect, right? Pretty simple. There's going to be some new loot. There's going to be more people in the wilderness. It's going to be fun to try and solo kill it, and who knows if, people will. I expect they will. Um, so yeah, that's pretty understood, right? But at the end of the video, they talk about sinkholes, right? Well, what the hell are sinkholes, right? Sinkholes in the real world are basically holes in the ground that form when the bedrock beneath the ground erodes away and then the overburden, the topsoil area, caves in. Now, this can happen a number of different ways. The most dramatic ones are the kind that you see. I mean, if you look around on the web, you can find examples, and they can be like, 150 meters deep, right? Kilometer across, just huge holes in the ground. And they tend to form in particular areas where there's like acidic water, right? That, if you've got water that's near a lot of plants and swampy kind of areas, the plants can put a lot of carbon dioxide in the water, and apparently that can make it very acidic, and it can eat away certain types of rocks, softer bedrock. So, what's an example of softer bedrock? Limestone, right? So, Jagex and RuneScape, they don't have to be nearly as rational, right? But if we look around the world map, there might be a few examples of places that fit the bill, right? The Lumbered Swamp is obviously one. It's swampy and there's obviously a lot of acidic water. But beneath there, the caves and all that stuff, which are good, take up a lot of space. So maybe, who knows if there's going to be enough space for them to do what they want in this area. But they did say swamp holes plural. I also thought that Karamja might work as a candidate. There's a bunch of the east side of Karamja that has lots of space for additions, and on the west side there's this area that looks almost like the Nile River in Egypt, and Egypt has sinkholes too. Uh, Down here, south of Feldeep Hills, I think is a decent candidate, and especially over south of Isufdar, this poison wasteland, I wouldn't be surprised to see the sinkhole there. But there's a better one. And I think that the most likely candidate is actually going to be here at the mining site for limestone. Now, over near here, there's a guy named the Rag and Bone Man, and right at the very end of the video, they show a picture of someone who looks a whole lot like him, except, updated. And this area of the map is pretty old. It may be one of the oldest areas of the map, of the surface map, that hasn't been updated. Um, I mean, it's old. It needs to be updated. So why not, right? It's got the limestone there, so maybe there's bedrock that's limestone. You've got the Knifs Mortania area that's obviously very swampy, very acidic. There's all this plant life, and so that works. And also, yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. So that could work, right? So I think we're going to see sinkholes here this time in 2 weeks, but they might be other places. So then the question becomes, why do we care about sinkholes? Who cares, right? Well, sinkholes in the real world are, you know, people will. There's myths that there's like gold and treasure in there, and people have talked about finding gold, and maybe it's a hole to the some crazy canyon under the earth. Who knows where it goes? Maybe they're endless, right? People have talked about this. Of course, they're all not true. But what is true is that there's different life forms in some of them that can only really be found in some of those places, which is really cool. I think some places in Guatemala are like that. So you might expect to see some new creatures, not to mention the one that they show. This guy looks like something out of the comic books. Looks a bit like Nightcrawler. He's got playing cards flying around him and gold and bags of gold. And so I think we're going to find some cool treasure, some cool, maybe it'll be a bit of an adventurous type thing. Not sure, not sure. I wouldn't mind seeing a few buildings swallowed up. That's something that sinkholes are known to do, but who knows if they'll make it that involved. Should be very interesting. So why don't we get on and do something else? Hello. I've been doing a bit of recording. I went and did a Slayer task. I've been on my way to level 90 for quite some time, but the recording wasn't that interesting. I did a bit of commentary, just chatting about some stuff I find interesting, but it wasn't interesting at all. So I'm not going to show that, but I'll give you guys an update on how bot killing is going. I'm well on my way to 5,000 bot kills. My goal for 5,000. We're up to 3,736 kills. Not bad. Recently, I've just been using some melee gear. This you see here, except I just wear some other different stuff. Yeah, really simple gear, right? Just I've got my God Sword and Rune Armor. Really simple. It destroys the bots right now. Very, very cool. I am risking a little bit more carrying this thing around. Um, and actually, someone almost killed me today. It was really, really close. I mean, I'm terrible at PKing, right? And someone who's actually good came and tried to kill me, and they were almost successful. My Ring of Life saved me. And when I showed up in Edgeville, I wasn't even wearing my prayer, so I almost died, and I was going to lose my God Sword. So that's how good of a PKer I am. So yeah, still got to learn a little bit, but it's going pretty well. So I thought, well, what can we do? What can we do? It's kind of easy for me to talk to you guys about this flower gambling thing. Should you, if you're gonna play, what should you pick, hot or cold? And what's actually going on in this game, and should we play, and how much should we bet? And I thought, let's take a really objective look as best we can at the whole thing and figure it out. So, flower gambling is this thing people play at the Grand Exchange. You can pick hot or cold, right? And depending on what color the flower is when it comes up, it can be hot or cold or a push. So, hot flowers are red, orange, and yellow. You can see there's a certain chance, a certain probability that they'll come up that way. And we've listed those here. So, the total percent chance of getting a hot flower, is 43.6. The total percent chance of getting a cold flower is 40.75. And then there's the push. These ones, if they come up, the host always wins no matter what you pick. So you've got the rainbow, the white, and the black, and they come up 15.6% of the time. So then the question is, okay, well, let's say we want to make a bet. Usually the minimum they say is 50,000, so I've got it here. So let's bet 50,000 and figure out how much we expect to win. Well, let's say we pick hot. On a bet of 50,000, we expect to win negative 6,390 GP. So every time we bet 50,000, we can expect to win negative 6,390. But let's compare that with cold, because hot not looking too good here. So if we bet cold, it's on a 50,000 bet, we expect to win negative 9,250 GP. So as it turns out, cold is actually worse than hot. So if you have to pick between them, don't pick cold because it's worse than hot. But we can do better than that, right? We can use a bit of a simulation. We can go a little further. So let's say we wanted to simulate 1,000 trials. We play 1,000 times, right? And we bet 50,000 again and again and again, 1,000 times, right? That'll tell us which one's better and how do we play this game, right? What's the best way to play? So let's look at the whole thing. Well, over 1,000 trials, we can see that hot does a little better than cold here. Hot expects to win about negative 9 point something million, right? We've got negative 8 million here, negative 10 million here. So hot is about negative 9.2 million GP, and cold's worse, right? It's about negative 10.2 million, right? So between the two, in the long term, cold's worse than hot. But you can see, there's luck in this game. So sometimes you can get confused about which one's worse, right? Over maybe 200 trials, it looks like cold's break even and not losing anything. And hot's losing quite a bit, so it's losing almost 2 million. So yeah, the game's confusing. You want to figure it out. So we can run simulations, and every time I run this again, we can look at kind of like a different person's experience playing the game 1,000 times, betting 50,000 each time. But let's say we change our bet amount. Let's say we decided to not bet 50,000. Let's say we bet zero. How much do we win and lose then? Well, we can see that the hot trend line and the cold trend line are actually right on top of each other. We don't win anything when we bet zero, right? We don't lose anything either. So yeah, that's not a bad choice because what we can see is that almost no matter what we bet, let's say we bet 200,000. Well, that gets even worse. I mean, cold is losing almost 40 million. Hot's now losing over 10 million. And when we refresh it, it changes all the time. There it's like 35. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hot's better than cold, but they're both really bad. So, I could put this another way. What other way can I put it? Um, yeah, so the gambling game. Um, don't play it 'cause it's stupid. I guess I could put it that way too. Uh, yeah, so that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks very much for watching. And next time we'll do something kind of fun, something a little more productive. Maybe it'll be Tuesday, and the demon flash mobs will be out. That'll be fun. We can go to the wilderness, derp around, get ourselves killed a few times, and that'll be good fun. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will see you later.